How did a simple cannon, the M2 105mm howitzer, make the formidable German defensive lines in World War II statistically impossible to hold? It wasn't just about firepower. It was about industrial warfare on a scale never seen before, a revolution that changed the battlefield forever. Let's travel back to the European theater of World War II. The German army, masters of defense, had built a reputation for creating nearly unbreakable fortified lines. From the Siegfried Line to the Gustav Line, their positions were designed to withstand immense punishment and inflict heavy casualties on any attacking force. These defenses, packed with machine guns, bunkers, and minefields, could hold out for weeks, even months, against conventional assaults. But then, the Americans arrived, and they brought with them a weapon that would turn Germany's greatest strength into its greatest weakness: the M2 105mm howitzer. What made the M2 so special? At first glance, it might not seem extraordinary. It was a reliable, accurate, and relatively mobile artillery piece. But its true power lay in numbers and a revolutionary new system for using them. The United States produced over 10,000 M2 howitzers, making it one of the most mass-produced artillery pieces in history. This wasn't just about having more guns. It was about what you could do with them. An M2 crew could sustain a firing rate of about 4 rounds per minute. Now imagine a standard American artillery battery of 6 guns. That's 24 shells landing on a target every single minute. Compare that to the German reality. Due to severe production and logistical constraints, a German gun might only be supplied with 50 rounds per day. The Americans, on the other hand, could supply each M2 with up to 500 rounds per day. The math was brutal. An American battery could fire more shells in 10 minutes than a German battery could fire in an entire day. This overwhelming volume of fire was just one part of the equation. The other was precision. The U.S. Army developed an incredibly advanced fire control system, a network of forward observers, communication lines, and fire direction centers. This system allowed them to coordinate the fire of not just one battery, but dozens of batteries, all aimed at a single precise point. Imagine hundreds of guns, spread out over miles, all firing in perfect synchronization to bring a storm of steel down on a single German bunker or trench line. This was surgical destruction on an industrial scale. The effect on German defenses was catastrophic. Positions that were designed to withstand attacks for weeks suddenly found themselves being systematically dismantled in under 72 hours. The relentless, round-the-clock bombardment from M2 batteries made life in the German trenches a living hell. It wasn't a random barrage. It was a methodical process of annihilation. Forward observers would spot a target, call in the coordinates, and within minutes, the position would cease to exist. This artillery superiority completely changed the dynamic of the battlefield. For German soldiers, any movement during the day became a death sentence. The sky was filled with the constant whistle of incoming shells. The sheer density of American artillery, with M2s deployed almost hub-to-hub in some sectors, meant there was no safe place to hide. Defense was no longer a matter of tactical skill or bravery. It became a statistical impossibility. The question wasn't asterisk if asterisk a position would be destroyed, but asterisk when asterisk. Adding to Germany's nightmare was the M2's versatility. It could fire a wide range of ammunition. High explosive shells shattered bunkers and trenches. White phosphorus rounds created dense smoke screens that blinded defenders, or were used for their horrific incendiary effects. There were even shells designed to shred barbed wire or deliver propaganda leaflets. This flexibility meant German commanders could never be sure what was coming next, making their defensive planning a guessing game with fatal consequences. The M2 also introduced a new kind of economic warfare directly onto the battlefield. Think about the cost and labor required to build a reinforced concrete bunker. It took weeks, tons of materials, and significant manpower. An American artillery battery, using a few $100s worth of shells, could obliterate that same bunker in a matter of hours. The Americans were destroying assets faster and cheaper than the Germans could ever hope to build or replace them. The M2 created an economic imbalance that was simply unsustainable for the German war machine. This industrial and logistical gap was the nail in the coffin. While a German gunner had to carefully ration his 50 shells per day, his American counterpart was encouraged to fire as much as needed. The American war economy was churning out shells and guns at a rate that Germany, already strained by years of war and Allied bombing, couldn't match. This created a structural advantage that no amount of tactical genius could overcome. Faced with this reality, the German army was forced to abandon its long-held doctrine of static linear defense. Fixed positions were no longer strong points. They were death traps. They had to shift towards a more fluid, mobile defense, constantly moving to avoid being targeted and destroyed by the ever-present American artillery. The M2 had effectively made the traditional trench warfare of World War I obsolete. In the end, the M2 105mm Howitzer redefined the role of artillery. It was no longer just a supporting arm for the infantry and tanks. It became the primary tool of destruction, the force that made enemy positions mathematically untenable before the first soldier even crossed the line of departure. The lessons learned from the M2's dominance in Europe laid the foundation for modern artillery doctrine. It proved that in an industrial war, the ability to coordinate mass-produced firepower could be more decisive than the tank, the airplane, or the machine gun. It was a testament to the idea that victory could be manufactured, calculated, and delivered with devastating precision, one 105mm shell at a time. Thanks for watching. If you found this look into military history interesting, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you in the next one.